Okay, up to now, I'm expecting a few things from you right now. First thing first, you must have a very clear idea about how to find lead magnet ideas. As in, like, we may not need to actually go for one single big topic to talk about. Like I shared with you in the previous module, we can actually pair several questions that are being frequently discussed among the community and put them together into a very useful lead magnet that these people will be wanting to open for. That's the first thing, which is because if you do not know where to find the lead magnet ideas, you will have a very difficult time churning lead magnet ideas, because basically the lead magnet has to be churned quite frequently. Because the whole idea here is I shared with you in the previous module, which is eventually lead magnets are just methods or so-called ways or angles or probably different perspective to sell your offer. So you must have an offer, which I actually spent some time breaking down to you what makes a good offer and how can you revisit your own offer to see whether your offer is doing well or not. Because basically, here's how it works. If you have been trying to capture leads and you have been trying to convert them into your customer, which is you have a framework flowing, whether it's on using, whether you're selling services or even you're selling e-commerce products. Because I have some coaching clients that actually sell e-commerce products, as in, like, they have an e-commerce store, but when they sell things, they don't really sell through just running ads, because for their product it requires a little bit of explanation because it's a health related product, and it has actually tackles a very specific problem, which is it actually requires a bit of explanation. So now the whole idea here is, if you have been struggling to strike a balance, because very simple, if the whole thing is not working, there must be something wrong. So if you have gone through the exercise that up to now, as we have gone through quite several modules together, if you believe that your lead magnet has got not much problems, you have been getting everything right, using the method, then it's time to reinvestigate or revisit your offer. Because I would say, based on my experience, I would say 80 to 90% of time, when a lead magnet is not working, it could be because of the offer. Especially if you have been trying several rounds using several angles and you're still not seeing very good success, you have to revisit your offer. So go through it, build something from scratch. And when I say offer, it is not necessarily has to be, let's say, for example, right, it could be just a part of the offer. Like, for example, now if you are a, because if you talk about, let's say, for example, if you are, let's say if you are an insurance agent, or let's say you are a financial planner, okay, or if you are a something like, let's say, even real estate agent, okay, let's take financial planner for example. A lot of times, right, it could be common sense where we thought that whenever we are building lead magnets, we want to sell our policy. But for your case, you may not be able to just build up a lead magnet just to sell the policy, because you might want to build something in between, which is like, you probably want to run some lead magnets, as in like some workshops, to educate people about something in terms of like one thing specific, like how to, I will always like to go very niche in terms of creating a lead magnet. Like, let's say, for example, right, family financial planning with newborn baby, for example, or newlywed couple financial planning for the family. So when these people come in, that when these people come in, they are very niche. So what you can offer next may not be directly telling them that, okay, now if you want to sign up for a policy, do this. After they go through this program, you can actually offer something also free in between, which is like, okay, now if you are interested, I hope I have given you some value in this whole thing. If you want to find out, I'm offering X number of slots for a one-on-one consultation. And so now you can sign up to have a one-on-one sessions with me or my team to actually assess your financial situation, and we will give you some suggestions, and that would actually increase the likelihood or the chance of converting the offer. So sometimes, if the whole thing is kind of like not working to a certain extent, you might want to consider either work on the offer again, which is for certain cases you can't, right? Because if you're selling the policy, this is it. But you can work on something, adding some element in between to lubricate the whole so-called the experience of the people coming in, making them feel a lot easier and comfortable to come in to the next step. And you see, here is how it works, right? It's actually very similar to my Jumpstart program. At one point, I was going out and say that, hey, if you're interested, you may sign up to my Jumpstart program. But then again, when people do not have, I mean, when they don't feel the urge, as in, or they don't feel the importance of doing this, it's very difficult. So what we did was we added some layer in between, which is why we invite them to come over, okay, for a session. And when I dissect that campaign, it actually compounds. It added so many reasons why they must do this right now, because I would always be able to find areas that they can definitely improve. So this is something that you want to come in, yeah, because sometimes for certain so-called selling or closure, it requires one-on-one. So much that we would like to have everything automated, that the people come in and just, they will just go and buy and all that. And we have to probably consider restructuring a little bit. So the lead magnet is one angle, and the offer and adding something element in between is also like that. So I'm going to walk you through my 3 framework of generating, as in like constructing and launching, executing, okay, lead magnets, which is namely the Zoom lead magnet, the Facebook group lead magnet, and the automated lead magnet. And I also will give you some angles about how do you apply specifically for e-commerce for that case. So when I talk about a lot of, let's say, for example, the email sequence and all that, I will do my best to walk through a little bit in this, video itself or the module itself. But all of them, I would actually gather them in the resources area, whereby you can actually go in and look at the whatever PDF available or the email samples. But remember one thing, okay? All these elements, also called the resources, are meant to help you really understand the whole process. And to be very frank, whenever somebody actually adopt this framework, you should, okay, internalize and make it your own. And the easiest way is to start. Okay, you only need to know, like, okay, what is this email all about? I need to nurture them, or I need to introduce them to something else. Then you can actually start writing your own email using your own tonality and something like that. Okay, now I'm just going to roll in and look at a few lead magnet so-called frameworks that we will be using to create lead magnet. The first one is definitely my favorite one up to now. In fact, I only started doing this sometime in October 2021, October or September 2021. It's just like 1 year after I've been using Facebook group heavily. Okay, I started to try Zoom, because when it comes to Facebook group, of course, I love the process, because it actually allows you to build something for long term, which we're going to discuss it later, a little bit later in the next so-called next framework. But then again, Zoom gives us a different kind of like interaction, because what I realized is this: when I go live in Facebook group, the downside would be there will be a delay. As in, like, when I want to do some live interaction, I will be like, oh, if you like this, type a 1. I may have the awkward moment and say that when I type a 1, and they probably will start typing 1 maybe like 5 to 8 seconds later, because there is a delay in between. So that's the challenge. And eventually, it's kind of like whatever that we are facing. And eventually, another angle to look at it is when you're doing it in the Facebook group, okay, the reason for people to really attend live and watch until the end may be slightly reduced, because they know that usually the video will become available in the Facebook group. But then again, it depends on what are you trying to do, because on the other hand, if you're using Facebook group, the benefit would be, as I will be discussing a little bit more deeper later on, is you are able to keep all these a series of Facebook so-called like live content or lead magnets or so-called programs that you have done in the past. So for those people who come in later, they will have the benefit of, oh, I come in because of this. And if I actually have the time, and I will be watching the previous ones, provided if they do. So sometimes this is something that you want to consider. So basically, the Zoom lead magnet is something that I have been using heavily since late 2021. So there are a few things. Basically, the benefit of it is when you do live training, it is a lot easier for you to build the engagement and trust. Because the moment you come on live, people can feel your charisma, people can feel your passion, people can definitely feel you. That's very important, because as opposed, although we are also going live in the Facebook group itself, but then again, as I mentioned to you, there will be a different or delay actually that people can feel differently when they are interacting. So in the Facebook group also, in some situation, we might even allow people to open up their camera and actually have a chit chat session, which makes it a lot more interactive. And one workshop like that can definitely change the way people perceive you as an expert. So it's something that you want to consider. And basically, when we do Zoom live training, it usually comes with a time sensitive offer, which is like, when you come in, usually it's like within, I would say maybe within the 24 to 48 hours, the room for you to sign up for this offer, one thing, or the room for you to apply for certain thing which you will be entitled for one-on-one session or something like that, should come to a point that it will be closed. So the time sensitivity becomes something very important because you want to actually create that kind of urgency. Because to be very frank, right, those who want to take up something, even it's a free one-on-one session with you, those who want to take up, they will take up, as soon as they can. They usually don't wait. And the time sensitivity is a way to push these people to take action. All you want is very simple. Let's say if the 10% comes to the room, all right, to attend your one-on-one session. Your Zoom training or workshop. Now, if there will be 3 person who will sign up. You want them to sign up right now. So the sensitivity, the time sensitivity gives people kind of like a reason to act now. And you want to close because you don't want to let these people like drag, and after that they consider 1 week later, then they come back for ask you for the same thing. Then you have a very clear way to say that, oh, sorry, you're not allowed to do this anymore. Which, in fact, if you want to still open for them, you can. But then again, you want to build that kind of expectation where, whatever I give you for free or, the offer it is time sensitive. When you come back, it's not going to be the same. So I think this is quite important because else people will always drag and people will lose respect. I think that's a very important point. And the next thing is whether you want to provide replay or not. That's entirely up to you. It depends on situation. Certain cases we provide replay. Certain cases we don't provide replay. And sometimes we may even look at the situation where if we see the necessity, we will provide replay, or not. But the benefit of providing replay is you might be able to capture certain people who actually maybe they were attending, but halfway they had to do something else. And when they are given the opportunity to watch the replay, it allows them to complete the whole thing. And also, of course, we might capture certain people who will not be able to attend, and they will get that. But then again, here's the thing. You will always expect, you can actually monitor. Okay, like for example, the Numbers That Matter workshop. At first, for the first few weeks, we didn't provide replay, and it was pretty fine. And after that, we started providing replay in the recent few rounds. In the very beginning, it was really good because because of the leads that we captured at that particular week was a lot stronger. So those who watched the replay did actually sign up to take up for the next step, which is the one-on-one. But some of the sessions when we provide replay, we even see very poor click-through rate and very poor review rate. So, but all these things can be adjusted. Remember, everything in the lead magnet can be adjusted and should be adjusted as and when you feel necessary. Because remember, the worst thing you want is to build a lead magnet and just let it be without optimizing it. That is really like wasting a lot of opportunities, because every time you present to a group of people, it's a new learning opportunity, and you can actually do something that improves the whole thing. Okay, I just want to quickly give you a checklist about what you need to do. But then again, I will give you all the necessary, like let's say, I will walk you through on how to set up the lead, the group. But if you have access to the Lead Magnet Academy, not Lead Magnet Academy, the MailerLite Jumpstart Academy by Andrew, it will give you all the details on how to set up, the MailerLite. I would recommend to use MailerLite because, in my opinion, it is a lot easier for us to, just install the form and then to connect the back end and all this kind of stuff, which is very important. Because or else, what we want to focus here is this: we want to focus on selling, and I want to minimize the effort and time spent on the logistic, which is, I always like to tell, the logistic is something that is, if we can minimize it, like even to a certain point, if you don't have time and resources to build all these things, even feel this is a bit unnecessary, you can even just use the MailerLite landing page to do that, because you can actually run ads with that completely okay. But then again, I'm using WordPress. So as you saw, as actually demonstrated to you, I embed the form into my WordPress website, which is every time I create a landing page and a thank you page, and I just use the form as the automation. I'll walk you through a quick one. So basically, first thing that you need to do is, when you're building a Zoom lead magnet checklist, is you need to schedule a Zoom meeting first. So once you schedule the Zoom meeting, okay, it will become available in your calendar. And eventually you'll be able to use the calendar link to actually provide so-called the, like to fill into the emails and all this kind of stuff. So what I would do is once I schedule a Zoom meeting, okay, the Zoom link will become available. I would do the next thing that I will do is I would actually set up a Bitly shortened link with that. The Bitly shortened link can work on a few angles. First, it allows you to track the number of clicks, and second thing is it also allows you to have a shortened link when you are sending notification or reminders to your audience using WhatsApp. Okay, later I will talk about this, but in fact, WhatsApp plays a very important role to help increase the attendance rate. Okay, because somehow or other, email people do open, but sometimes people may not. They just get drowned in their emails and they forgot about it. But when you send WhatsApp reminder, it becomes very easy for these people to just click and come in because WhatsApp is a lot more instant to the extent. So okay, so after that, definitely we will build a landing page and the thank you page, and we would have to set up the MailerLite setup. So let me walk you through on how do we do this, right? So hang on, are we okay? Right, so this is the MailerLite. First thing first, once you have set up the whole thing, basically, first you need to create a new Facebook group. Okay, so for every single program that we have, we create a new, sorry, not Facebook group, the MailerLite group. So once you create a MailerLite group, okay, the next thing is you will go to your form because usually we already have the form ready. So you need to create a new embedded form if you need to, but if you already have the form, you need to connect the form. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to go to the the numbers that matter. Where the hell is that thing? Okay, now the numbers that matter. So when you edit this thing, okay, and then you'll be saying first thing first, when you have a form, you can customize the form. All right, so I wouldn't want to go through the steps because Andrew has this part covered in his the email, the MailerLite Jumpstart Academy. So first thing first, you can customize the form, but I will always recommend to get your name, email, phone number, and country. So once you set this up, okay, I would always recommend to use the reCAPTCHA as well because it minimizes the chance of getting some like bot stuff. So when it comes to the settings, we will always bring them to the landing page. Sorry, I actually kind of like moved myself over here a little bit. So this is the, what do we call, the thank you page. Remember in the previous module, we talked about every time you want to set up a new lead magnet, all you need is to have a landing page and a thank you page. So the thank you page will become a redirect URL, and you want to set this up in your Facebook pixel to set up as a lead so that you can start running conversion ad. As I told you already, and you probably have guessed, when I run ads, it's definitely going for conversion because looking at the number of leads that I'm getting on an every week basis, more than close to 100 leads I'm getting every week, I definitely have enough so-called conversion to optimize for it. Okay, so then after that, when you go next, then basically what we will be doing here is we will be connecting the form to the so-called the MailerLite group. So as you move forward, right, as and when you have a new, let's say for this, the Numbers That Matter workshop is an evergreen thing. We do this every week, in fact. So when I do this every week, or whenever I have a new group set up, I just need to edit and change the group to the new one. So that's the first thing that we'll be doing. In fact, this will be the same as we are doing it for the Facebook group as well. So, but Facebook group is a little bit more straightforward because you may not change the batches because it should be a lot easier because everything would use one generic one. Like for my Facebook ads transformation Facebook group, it's a generic one. Okay, so then we will go to the automation. Okay, automation is the next most important thing when you set up your so-called your lead magnet over here because it is definitely very important for you to send them emails right away. So I'm just going to go in and show you the overview. Okay, so first thing first, you want to set up an automation like this. All right, you just need to click create a new automation. It's the same. Then I'm just going to edit and show you how it works. All right, so this is the automation setup. And basically, as you can see here, when a subscriber joins the group, all right, then they will start receiving emails. Now, you can, of course, edit the email. But then again, I think what I'm going to show you here is This is the sample email, the first email that I'm actually sending to the audience. This is the very generic one. You see, like we have got your registration details, and they'll be conducted via Zoom 100. And here's the Zoom link. See you on 8 March. So I make it a button. You can actually make it a clickable link, and however you want it. In fact, it's perfectly okay. And of course, you want to reinforce the next thing that you want them to do, which is like, as I shared with you earlier, I said I wanted them to join my Telegram group, although I haven't figured out what to do yet. And of course, I want them to subscribe to my YouTube channel. These are already something that you can get them to do, especially the YouTube channel allows them to immediately come in. The moment they look at my YouTube channel, they know that this is something that they can navigate, and they will find a lot of resources they might need. And the most importantly, it establishes me as an authority in the field, because the moment you come in with that amount of videos available and a fair bit of subscribers, of course, not very fantastically big, but then again, it's a viable number. So that would help. So this link would also be used to, whenever it comes to the point, they can just need to search for the email. Any email, we will include the link. In fact, as we move forward, we will actually have quite a number of emails coming in. All right, so that's the first email that we will be sending. And then usually a day later, we will send another email, which is what I would always do is, as I shared with you earlier, I think I'll be talking about this later on as well. Well, when people may not, most of the time, people will not sign up or, kind of like buy into you the first time they attend your lead magnet. So you want to connect them with multiple lead magnets. Like, as you can see here, I said, here's some free trainings before we meet. So if you're new to Facebook, this course is for you, which is, going to show them one lead magnet. And then I say, if you're advertising but not sure what you're doing right or wrong, join this training, which is another lead magnet. And the other one is, if you're Shopee or Lazada seller, this is for you. So immediately, the moment they come in, one day later, I connect them with at least another 3 lead magnets. So that's now, I hope you get the reason why you need to have multiple lead magnets, because eventually you want to create multiple touch points to nurture these audiences. That's very important, if you ask me. Okay, so that's the lead magnet part, where you want to connect multiple. But of course, this is the very simple one, because I don't want to bombard them with too many emails. Reason being is, this is just to prepare them to come in, because I do this on a weekly basis. So for on the day itself, or the day before, on the day itself, and together with the open cut emails, I actually will be sending them at least about 5 to 7 emails on the day until the next day. So it's not that necessary to send that many emails at the front end. But if you feel like you have a lot more things that you want to send, you are totally okay to build more emails in between. But I wouldn't want to. I would say this is quite good enough, that works well for me. But if you need more, I'm not objecting anything. You can actually do that as well. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So this is the automation. So for my case, I will be changing the group connected to this automation as and when I start a new week. So that's the thing that I do. Now let's come back to the slide a little bit to continue. Over here. Okay, let me take this down a little bit. Something is not right with this thing. Okay, now, all right, let me see this. Where is the slide coming along? Okay, all right, let me come back to this. Okay, now let's come back to this. Right. Okay, let's come back to this. So the Zoom lead magnet checklist will be like, the first thing, we need to schedule the Zoom, and then the landing page and thank you page. Of course, you need to set up the MailerLite setup, which is, you need to have the group, the form, and the automation. Don't worry, all the sample emails will be available in the resources, and so that you can actually go through that. And when it comes to the reminder emails, I would suggest to send at least 2 reminder emails beforehand. So the reminder emails, you don't need to write fancy stuff. You just need to tell them that. What I usually do is, on the day itself, I will send 1 reminder email telling them that, hey, remember we have this coming up tonight. Here's the link. Then they will keep it. And when I open the room, let's say if I do that at 8:30, I will usually open the room at 8 o'clock. All right. So at 8 o'clock, an email should go out automatically, but I would usually use campaign for that. So let me show you. Now, when I say I use campaign for that, it is like, hang on. So let's say what I would do is, I'm just going to show you some of the campaigns that I have. These are all the campaign. Let's say, for example, right? Let's say this is one of the lead magnet. We have the free audit. So the first one, we will say, this is the first email that will go out in the morning. See you tonight with the link. All right. And this is the second email they will go out in the when the room is open. So this is where we will say, oh, this is the room is open, you may come in right now. So you see the open rate is not too shabby if you look at this. So it's quite important to do that. All right. So that's why it's kind of like you need to know what are you doing. And of course, the other thing that is very important is you should consider, if you have the resources and time. Now you should consider sending WhatsApp reminders as well. What we do is we will send WhatsApp reminder the day before, and usually another one as the room is open. But if you have the time, you can actually send another one in the morning as well. So at least 2 to 3 WhatsApp reminders to make these people make sure that they come back. All right. So then, of course, you need to set up your open card emails. Well, this one I do not really want to set a limitation, but I guess definitely, let's say for example, right, when we run a workshop, it's usually 8:30 to 10 o'clock. So 10:15 usually I will have the first email going out to tell them about the offer. So like, let's say free Facebook ads audit. So they will receive that email at 10:15. So that for those people who kind of like, attended, but they may not complete the whole thing, they know they will see the email, they might click on the link to take the next action. And for those people who watch until the end, because we will use the QR code for people to scan and apply. So if they don't forgot to do that, they will be able to have the email with the link to go into that. And even from there, we might capture something who did not attend the workshop itself, but because they are attracted to the offer, so they took up. So these are the situations that you would do. And on the second day, of course, as we always would like to do urgency, so we will at least send 3 to 5 emails. The morning, we will send them an email saying that, hey, if you forgot, this is what happened, here's the link. And we will do some countdown. If in between you're selling something, let's say if you're really open card for people to pay and sign up, for example, you can actually have a lot more emails in between. Like at one point, for one of the offer that we did, right, we had 7 emails within a day, because there are several it's a bundle, you see. So there are several key so-called USPs that we want to communicate from time. So basically, we may have a few. But then again, when this thing happens, you will definitely expect higher unsub rate along the way. But it's completely fine, right? Because for those who really unsub, meaning that, well, I don't think they are the right people that you want to keep in your community as well. So that's why it's pretty okay, right? So I would say that's why I didn't set a number. As many as you need, all right? Definitely, but I will set a minimum. You probably need to have at least 3. On the day itself, definitely, as the card open at, let's say at night, if you are doing a workshop at night, when card open, you need to have 1. And then when, on the next day, if it's 24 hours, within 24 hours, you need to have at least 3 more to remind them about this thing. 1 usually in the morning, the other one in the afternoon, and the other one is usually a few hours before the offer closes. So that's how it works. All right. So that's for the Zoom lead magnet. And of course, this is something that I would never stop talking about, which is you have to always connect them to the next lead magnet. In fact, we actually have another automation. We probably do it once a month or something like that. We will gather everybody. Let's say if you come in through the numbers and the Meta workshop, we will get once a month. We'll probably do it once a month. We will gather and we will tell you that, hey, we have something else that you can come in to do this. We will remind them again. But then again, if you are actively sending emails like me, I think this could be, should be, may not be that important because, as I do have other offers and coming in and all that, right? Basically, it's also working as a nurturing sequence to help them, remind them about me and whatever it is. So that's about the Zoom lead magnet.